Okay, good afternoon. I also want to mention that Sylvia Canto from the University of Utrecht, she was actually the person who wrote this presentation. We adapted it, so it's a great pity that she can't be here. Okay, so let's start. Okie dokie, let the curtains open. What is a task? Okay, well, here's a general description. I know you've already had descriptions of what a task is, but, one more won't hurt, hopefully. A task is generally described as an activity in which people engage to attain an objective and which involves the meaningful use of language. And that's a word that Christy, our coordinator, really loves, meaningful. Okay, this was from Van den Branden et al., 2007. A task is a task. Okay, as Shakespeare once said. Are face-to-face tasks and VE tasks the same? What do you think, guys? Not really. Okay, taking an existing classroom activity and having students complete it online with foreign partners will fail to take advantage of the many benefits afforded by computer-mediated communication. Hampel Dixit. Okay, VE participation, virtual exchange, because we use the VE thing. Virtual exchange equals a learning, according to us. Unless there are well-constructed tasks, simply participating in synchronous oral exchanges does not necessarily lead to effective and motivated language and intercultural learning. Okay, categories of virtual exchange tasks. I don't know if you know Robert O'Dowd, but he's kind of like the #1 researcher in this area from the University of Leon. A shout out to Robert. And Paige Ware from Texas. Yes, Texas University. Okay, so categories of virtual exchange tasks for like the simplest to more difficult ones. Information exchange, get to know you activities. We normally start with these ones, actually. There's little negotiation of meaning where they kind of negotiate what they're going to do and also the meaning of words and sentences, etc. These can often be used as icebreakers. And in fact, that's what we use them for most of the time. But they can be very interesting in their own right. Then we have comparison. Compare eating habits, popular activities to do on the weekend, recycling practices, etc. As we've already seen from Maria and Eva, that was one of the ideas behind one of their tasks, right? This is a deeper level of processing, we would hope. #3, collaboration. It requires learners to work together in partnership to produce a joint outcome. This is the greatest demand on learners. Recently, what we've been doing with university students is to get them to make their own tasks. And they did a very good job, actually, even if I say so myself. Okay, so criteria for designing virtual exchange tasks. Okay, we're going to look at this one by one. #1, tasks have the potential to support learning if they involve and challenge learners. A bit of pushed output never does any harm. Okay, so I'm going to look at kind of like the checklist of what each of these means. For example, #1, are the tasks relevant to students? Okay, well, we've seen already this morning that they can be made relevant. Do they support learning needs? Well, yeah, if they include stuff from the curriculum that each individual school is doing, yeah, that they probably do it even better. Do the tasks activate learners' resources? Okay. Do the tasks have a clear communicative focus? Because if they don't, people just meander around discursively. Do the tasks prompt intensive communication between participants? Well, we have proof that they do. Okay, all you have to do is read our articles. But yes, some of them are very intense, actually. I remember one between Spanish boys and German girls that got quite intense. A bit of teasing going on and flirting. And yeah, I think German girls won in the end. But it was very intense and very, very interesting. Do the tasks use authentic resources and or communication channels? Yeah, for example, authentic resources or semi-authentic, I think would be a better word. You know, it's like when they're looking at they're talking about the things that they know about from their specific cultures. Do the tasks avoid predetermined answers? We hate predetermined answers. They suck. Okay, so hopefully not. Are our participants presented with choices? We would certainly hope so. If the task is designed well, you're trying to get them to, you know, there's going to be a choice there somewhere. Okay, so those are the boxes we have to tick for number one. Number two, tasks need to be clearly communicated and structured. Let's have a look at the boxes we have to tick here. Are task objectives clear and easily identifiable to the learners? Okay, this can be done before the main task, which is where we mostly do it. We should do it actually. Have intended tasks outcomes been specified? Well, in eLive they are. Okay, as you will see if you go to our web page and you find the tasks which are there in English, Spanish, French, and German. Are task instructions clearly formulated? This is an obvious, you know, thing. Are the tasks divided into achievable steps, little by little? Hopefully. Are task demands met by sufficient task support? Well, we saw some of that in Concha and Aude's presentation. The teacher was there to help them. This can also be done before the main task. Technical demands. Tools, to learn about the tools is very important, not only for the students, but also for the teachers. We found this out the hard way with, sorry, I'm going very slowly. We found out this out with the hard way with virtual reality headsets. Okay, are the tasks varied in terms of outcomes and types of interaction? Well, I think you've already seen several of these tasks and they were very varied. Do tasks build up on each other? Well, I think they should, and I hope you agree. Are the tasks arranged according to their complexity? That's also a very good idea. Okay, so I'm going so fast here. I hope you can keep up with me. Okay, technology and tasks. We're nearly at the end and then we get to the practical bit. Are tasks designed in a way that is appropriate to the medium? I mean, it's not the same designing a task for a virtual world as it is for a communication through Zoom, for example. Can participants choose technologies to match their individual preferences? Someone already said that that's pretty difficult. Okay, but sometimes it's needed because of technological problems more than the individual preferences of students. Does the use of technologies have relevance to the real-life context? We've already seen that that seems to be the case. Are students, instructors familiar with the technology being used? It's very important that they should be. We found out in our needs analysis that primary school teachers were very worried about this. Finally, number 4. So you're okay. Do the tasks allow for discovering new, interesting, similar or different aspects of the engaged cultures? Once again, we've seen it. They do. Are the learners prompted to encounter the partners in a way that supports openness and triggers curiosity? Once again, we've already seen that. Do the tasks support the learning of cultural knowledge and practices? Yes, they do. Do the tasks make learners aware of their cultural dispositions and practices? Yes. Okay, if you can tick all these boxes, you've got one hell of a task on your hands. Okay, so let's continue. Task design. We use a 3-step cycle, okay, making the objectives clear for the participants. We normally have a pre-task, which prepares the learners for the task, okay, linguistically, technologically, and culturally. Main task is the collaboration with partners, and the post-task is a reflective phase in which intercultural or linguistic issues can be discussed, also technological in some cases. Okay, characteristics of a good task for virtual exchange. It should be motivating and engaging. It should be relevant. The instructions should be clear. It should give the students reasons to collaborate. It should have an intercultural element, and it should have a clear outcome. And I think I've finished. Okay.
So you're in charge of changing these things? Okay. So, yeah. So Barry told you all about the theoretical bit, but we wanted to show some examples so that you could see how this works in our project. Well, actually, in our projects. Kara mentioned this morning that there were other projects we have been participating before. So we're going to show you an example, one example from each of those three settings. So in this one, you're going to see how the task directs or leads the kind of interaction that happens between those two students. And the first one is Spanish and the other one is British. They were using, this was a tandem, but at this point they are using English. They also practice Spanish at some point. And the task we gave them was quite complex. We gave them a very small budget for a trip. And they had to come up with the plane tickets, the hotel, etc. And we did it on purpose so that they had to negotiate. And it was difficult for them to come up with the results. So you can see how they talk about the price and look at the kind of vocabulary that they employed that probably wouldn't have arisen in a normal classroom. So.
Okay. Hostel, hotel. Hostel. Yeah. Hostel would be cheaper, right? Cheaper one. Yeah. Should we just go for the cheaper one? Yeah, it's one is like 6 persons in a room. I guess people in one room. A bit crowded. And the other one is 3 and is 60 euros, and the other one is 30 euros. You go 30 euros and to be cheap. Do you understand Euro? It's not really different from pounds. It's like quite similar. I imagine you'll go with the 3 people one. Okay, so what did you prefer? The 3 hostel and hotel.
So as you could see, like cheapskates, or later on they say we could splash out. Those are expressions that probably don't come in English books, and people use them every time, and that's authentic, that's real, and that's something you don't really get in traditional classes. In the second example, you're going to see this is in German. Those of you who speak German can understand what they say, but those who don't speak German can see the excitement in the voices. And you see, this is the previous virtual wall we had in Tila and Tekola. The one we have in eLife is different. I'll show you in the third video. But here they had to come up with, this was like a treasure hunt. So they had to go through different steps and they had to find the solution together. And they found out that putting the boxes together in those gates, then they could open the gates. And if not all of the participants were doing that at the same time, it wouldn't work. So let's see their excitement when they find out.
Yeah, this was German as a lingua franca.
German is a lingua franca, sorry.
Between French and Dutch students.
Exactly.
Ja, wo ist die eine und wo ist die andere?
Was ist dein Alter?
13.
Okay,
Billy, kannst du mich sehen? Ja, ich bin Tim, ich bin 15 Jahre alt und ich lebe in Holland.
Ich bin Scott, ich bin 16 Jahre alt.
Wo ist die Junge
Wo ist dein Freund?
Mit einem blauer Haar?
They have a clock ticking the time out.
1, 2, 3. Sesam offen.
Hallo.
Hallo. Ik ben Julian.
Hallo Julian. Hallo Julian.
Hallo.
So the gamification component here, we don't need to watch the whole video to see this, to realize about this. The gamification component also makes it very, very attractive for the students. And the fact that they had to collaborate and to work together to go to the next step, that was something they really, really enjoyed. Okay.
Next one.
Next one. Well, I forgot to tell you, these are also secondary school students as the ones in the first video, because they are avatars and you can all know what age they are, right? But they were secondary students. In the next video,
I think Christy was there too, right?
she was the one at the front. Yeah, doing the recordings. So this is an exchange that we are currently carrying out with the University of Utrecht, Barry and I from the University of Valencia and Christy in Utrecht. And so in this particular one, this is the new virtual world that we have. It's Frame VR. And Nick is here and he can also answer your questions about Frame VR if you have any, because he's the creator of our...
He created all of this.
All of this.
He's the creator of worlds.
And we have different worlds where different languages are spoken. And we try to recreate those cultures and those countries. So they had to go, the task that we gave them was to go from one world to another world. And they had to take screenshots and they had to talk about the cultural artifacts and tell each other if they found that those artifacts were really appropriate according to their culture and their country. And if they thought they would be a good kind of activity for the teaching of their L1. Like, you know, in this case, we are taking a look at Horchateria de Santa Catalina, which is a typical place in Valencia. And they serve a drink that I don't know if you heard of, it's called horchata. And then we've got the Spanish student telling the Dutch student what horchata is about. So I'll let you listen to it.
You know what horchata is? I don't know.
Or she didn't know.
It's a very famous drink here in Valencia. It's very sweet. It's like, it's not milk. But I don't know how to say that in English. It's called chufa, but I have no idea if it even exists like outside of.
Where does it taste? What does it taste like?
I just don't like it.
No.
It's very, very sweet for me.
Oh, okay.
It's like,
There's people.
oh, interrupting again. It's like, I don't even know how to like describe it. For me, it's like milk with water and a lot of sugar.
Okay, we can.
And
Okay.
if someone hears me describing it as that, I think they will like probably fight me on that. But
I forgot to tell you that this was done with the virtual reality glasses. So for them, it was a very new setting. And you see that, but what they felt is they were surrounded by the world. So it was quite fun for them and also quite real. They were there, like inside the horchateria. So, and she was a bit ashamed that she didn't like horchata, being a Valencian person. And so she was trying to explain the other girl what it was about. And that is an example of an intercultural kind of episode, okay? We have to move on because otherwise we
you
won't
know
have
what?
time. Okay, here, if you take this QR code, you've got a link to a guide to task design for V. That guide has been created by our colleague Silvia Canto, and it's Geniali, where you can follow the different steps to create a nice task for online settings, for different online settings. But I think the most interesting thing would be to show you our webpage very quickly. I know I'm running out of time because of Barry, but
Yeah, okay. Thank you for that, Begoña.
so if you go to our webpage and you go to the button resources, and then you go to tasks, you will get to this part, this page. If you just type eLife on Google, you will get our eLife project, you will get that in Google. You go to resources and then to tasks. And we've got plenty of examples here of the tasks that we have created in eLife, but also the ones for Tila and Tekola. Yes, you can click on there. They are grouped by language because we don't want it be only teaching English or using English. We know English is the most important language, but we also want teachers of other languages to have access to materials in other languages. So we have some in French, some in Spanish, in German. And we try to group them. You can see according to the level, according to the medium, according to the main objectives. But this is quite visual for teachers. You can access that and choose the one that is more appropriate for your students according to the level. So just I will invite you to explore them and take a look at them whenever you have a chance. Monsters as well. I mean, I wanted to tell you that we chose those 3 tasks that we showed before, but any of the presentations this morning would have been a very, very nice example of these as well. But we chose different tasks because they had already presented this morning. But everything we commented on was already showed by the presentations in the morning. So we're going to go back to the presentation, right? And oops.
Oopsie doopsie.
Oopsie whoopsie. So that will be all on our part, and we are ready to answer any questions you might have. Thank you.